Hi, it's Laine Johnson here, and I'm running to be the next city councillor for College Ward. And I've invited David Chernushenko, a former councillor for Capital Ward, very much passionate about climate change in cities, to come discuss with us what cities can do to mitigate for climate change. In College Ward, as you know, we experienced devastating impacts of the really big storm in May. Many people were without power for 10 days, and we had very little communication with our elected officials to understand what we could expect. And so I want to bring a more proactive engagement on climate change issues so that I can better communicate with you how this is going to affect your homes and your quality of life. So David, can you please let us know, what is it that cities can be doing right now to address the effects of climate change?
I guess the first thing is to be very honest with people that you can expect more of these major weather events. They are going to come. Very intense rains, intense winds. There are going to be more of them. So at least be honest with people that that is a fact, and that the city is going to take a number of steps to address those. To start with, what can we be doing to minimize those? It's all part of a global effort. What can we, one citizen in Ottawa, do about this? Well, we're all individuals, and if we don't take steps, how can we expect the billions of others to do so? So yes, it does matter what one person does. On a scale, with all of us working together, we can have a real impact. So what are the main areas? Transportation is a huge one. Continue the push towards more public transit, get our trains working better and serving more people, and continue to push active transportation, which has multiple benefits: walking and cycling, making it safer and more attractive and more convenient for people as a choice, not as something imposed on them, but as a choice, so that not all of their trips, but many of their trips can be by an alternative to the private vehicle. It saves them money. You don't need a vehicle, or at least don't need as many vehicles, depending on where you live, which will be most people's case. And then the opposite side of that is stop widening roads, stop putting more pavement down. That is causing a heat island effect. It's absorbing the sun, making it hotter. That's also the more paved space we have when we get big rains. That turns to flooding very quickly. We need more soft landscaping, absorbing. So we can't say we want to promote alternatives while at the same time continuing to promote private vehicles by expanding our road network or widening what we have. You have to have a carrot and a stick. And so we have to be honest and courageous to do that.
And I appreciate that point, if I can add that, because I have two little kids. So there are times where getting in the car is necessary, right? I am not necessarily comfortable on a big cargo bike. I have friends that are, but for me, I'm not as confident. So there will be times I choose to use the car, but I would really like to be able to walk and get a bag of milk. And that's actually one of the reasons why I even put myself forward here, because we don't have the shops, nearby in College Ward, so that I can make small errands without my car. And it's a huge pain in the butt.
Yeah, convenient, safe, and normal.
Yes.
So that more of those trips, as I said, not all of them, can be taken by alternative modes. The buildings that we live in, our own houses, what role can the city play in working with the province and the country, the federal government, to help people to make their homes more energy efficient, to allow them to be cooler in summer, but with less energy expenditure. Things like heat pumps, better insulation, trees. That's a huge one. I talked already about soft landscaping and trees. So many of our infill designs are not leaving the space for trees, or at least they're only leaving space for a little ornamental tree. We need the big shade-giving trees. We know that they're good for our physical health. We know they're good for our mental health. Studies have shown the effect of living around large trees actually has a calming effect on people, and it keeps the city cooler. It's healthier for us. And then the vehicles that we do own. Can more of them be electric? Of course, the city's fleet itself. Can the city's fleet be electrified? Buses in particular, moving towards electric buses faster. And then our private vehicles. The city really has no role in subsidizing the choice of vehicles, but in helping to have the charging infrastructure. So the person that's nervous about being caught without enough charge in their vehicle, or for all those people who live in apartments or condos that don't have their own parking spot, park on the street or often out traveling and out on the street, can we have charging stations, roadside, street side, available to people? Those are a number of the things the city can be doing on the reducing our own emissions side. On the protecting people from the impacts of the storms, absolutely softening our paved, mostly hardened city surfaces in the urban part of the city, so that when big rains come, more of the water is absorbed as opposed to instantly becoming a flood. On the cooling side, we know we're going to have more major heat events, and there are lots of people who will feel trapped, will be trapped in their apartments and homes that aren't cool enough. So while the city is helping people to insulate better and get cooling into their homes, to have cooling stations, to have places people can go to. A power outage in a heat event is a major crisis for people. They literally have nowhere to go and no way to get there. So we have to prepare for that sort of thing as well. Having designated community cooling centers and emergency plans for those.
Thank you. So why, I mean, how is Ottawa faring, you know, compared to other cities? Are we ahead of the game? Are we lagging? And why would that be?
Ottawa has mostly said the right things, but been slow on the action. Yeah. I often felt that everyone knew that climate and other ecological issues were important, but they didn't understand just how important. That these are really, I use the word advisedly, these are existential. They will quite literally threaten the existence, if not of the human species, at least of civilized human society. When we are in a panic mode in times of great stress, with potential for very large numbers of new migrants and refugees coming, that's going to be a real challenge for this city. So this is extremely serious and requires urgent action. I don't believe that enough people, both elected officials and the voting public, understand just how serious. I have to hope this summer, anyone who's following the news globally, we've been mostly spared in Ottawa from the really big heat events, droughts and fires, but my goodness, globally, everywhere you look, they're in serious droughts. Rivers run dry. Parts of the world that would never be in drought and have forest fires are having them now. It couldn't get more serious. And the flip side to all of that is there are so many things we can do about it, and they're so empowering. So what can an elected official, the city government do? Help empower people, help give them the tools, the information, work with people. That's above all, work with people.
Well, thanks so much for sharing your perspective on this, and thanks for all your advocacy in this area.
Very well.
Thank you.